Hi, everyone. Kevin gave really good insights and literally a primer 101 on angel investing. Can we have a show of hands? How many of you are actually looking to raise money actually right now? There's one there, two. So we have two, three looking to raise money. How many of you are actually have ideas germinating in your head about starting up a health tech company or something in healthcare? One. Okay. How about non-healthcare? How many of you have side hustles that you're working with friends and stuff like that?
They're too shy because over lunch I met a few that said they were doing side hustles already. So be honest. How many is about to start something, wants to start something? Wow. Was that ethics and
Okay. Okay, so what we'll do is, so this is, and the reason why we wanted to check out the landscape out there is really, this session is about how to raise funds for your healthcare startup. Now, I can share with you that over these last 2 days, I have got, just by attending the various sessions, I've already got some ideas germinating in my head in terms of opportunities. I'm sure some of you perhaps it's there, but you're a little bit shy. So what we're going to do is, these two gentlemen here, we're going to get them to talk a little bit about what they do and what they've done previously in healthcare. And then what we're going to do as a starting point is really to get you all to ask some questions. And let's answer the questions that you have, because after Kevin's session earlier, you may have different questions that needed answered and we ran out of time. So let's do that first. We'll start off with Bikesh and 1337. Give us an overview of 1337 and your background as an investor and some of the healthcare stuff you've done.
Sure. So hi, my name is Bikesh, founding partner of Leet Ventures. We're geeks at heart, so we spell things with digits, 1337, for another day. Primarily, we play a role in two different things. You could see ourselves as angel investors because we've been investing our own capital for the last decade here in Malaysia. So we're usually the first check. What does that mean? You have an idea, you want to start, you may have family, friends, and fools around you, but you could choose to come to someone like us because we know how to take risk and we know how to hold your hand and help you basically go from what we call 0 to 1, from an idea to a product, from product to customers, from customers to scale. So this is basically what we do, right? We look for talent, not specifically in health tech, although we're trying to build a portfolio in that. We have the premise of we invest in the best minds here in Malaysia. We invested in 17-year-old students while they're still in high school that has great ideas. We've invested in people who is over the age of 60 years old that basically build their own farms and everything in between, from finance to healthcare to social enterprises to the most deep tech technologies leveraging AI. Our role is when you find someone that knows something that others don't or can do something that others can't, that's what we want. So we find talent and we come in to help you figure out how to go from that concept in your head to become a business that's basically feasible. So we run programs on the side where, there was a program associated with this conference, the H Innovators Challenge, and later on at 4 o'clock you'll see the group of professionals that went through us that basically had ideas germinating in their heads, and a group of students that basically were also doing the same. And that's primarily what we do, helping you go from idea to product in the shortest time span possible.
Thanks a lot, Bikesh. Sean?
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Sean. I, just like you, maybe almost about a decade ago, I was sitting in your shoes thinking, should I continue in clinical medicine or do something else? And back then, look, I wish there was a community like this. I wish there was a platform, where I could find that support, but there wasn't. But I did the very black sheep, unpopular decision to strike out and to found my own health tech startup. And since then, it hasn't been a bed of roses, but it has been a very rewarding journey, and I haven't looked back. I know Bikesh for I think about 8 years now. So he's the OG in investing. Okay, I was back then. I was a nobody, but over that time, I grew my network, continued to build And now, today, I run a VC firm. So we're now in the same boat on the other side of the table. And I invest primarily or majorly in health tech in Asia. So we're here today to hopefully inspire some of you to step into the space. And I was just having some conversation, right, with some participants over lunch, and I was just impressed by how little we realize, and I have forgotten how that feels like, right? How little we realize as clinicians what our unfair advantages are. And there is a lot of them, and I hope that today's next 30 minutes, so please ask as many questions as you can. We would like to, and ask, start thinking about what you want to know, and we'd like to answer them in an AMA style as much as we can, and we want to hopefully inspire some of you to change the world.
Now, in terms of your VC firm, 17.5 VC, could you just give them an insight into the sort of investments you make and your ticket size and so forth?
So I think we pioneer by physician for physician, by doctor for doctor type of concept. We're looking for operators, people like you guys, right? Ex-healthcare operators that have seen problems in the space, and you've struggled with things, in your past working, and you're just so frustrated, right? And you want to fix it, and so we invest in people like that. We come in at an early stage as well, similar to Bikesh's firm, but we come in right after him. So, you would typically go to an accelerator like a 1337s, or you go to maybe a non-health tech one like Antler or FI or something like that, and you would come out of that having an idea, maybe an initial product, and you've tested it, and then you need that seed money to get rolling, and that's where we come in.
Okay, thank you. So that's very clear then. So you have a very early stage investor, which is Bikesh, and then you have the next stage. So literally then, for some of you, these are the first steps that you take in your fundraising journey. Okay.
So Sean, tell me about this unfair advantages you talk about.
I think healthcare is a space that so I think there are two sides to the problem, right? Firstly, on the innovation side, secondly, on the financing side. So if you look at the landscape of health technology in the past 10, 15 years, you can number on one hand the amount of startups that have succeeded. By succeeded, I mean exited, acquired, or highly profitable, just operating privately. And I think you can count as well, or maybe on just 2 or 3 fingers, the amount of startups in health tech in this region in Asia that are operator-led. And I think the reason for that is very simple. As healthcare operators, we are trained in a certain paradigm, especially us doctors, right? We are given a very specific mandate, and we are given a very linear career progression, right? And we never think that we can kind of move the needle in any other way. So that's the first problem on the innovation side. So all the innovations that we've seen in the past decade are done by outsiders. And the fellow doctors here in this room, right, those who sit in some kind of position of on the receiving end of pitches, right, companies, suppliers, solution providers that come to you, how many of them are built by clinicians? There are so many things that you would see, right, in their pitch to you as an operator doesn't make sense. Because you know that if you were doing that, you would never release that kind of thing. So that's the first problem. Now, the second problem is on the financing side. So, I've spoken to all those names, all those health tech startups that I mentioned just now. I know the founders. And I asked them, right, so what were your problems raising funds? And they all tell me the same thing. Financiers in this part of the world don't dare to come in on healthcare investments. We're not talking about those that already have lots of money in the bank, right? We're talking about people who genuinely have a good idea and they want someone to believe in them, right? And the reason is very simple, because the people who are controlling the checkbooks are not healthcare operators. And so when you go to them with an idea, with a project, with a startup, the first thing you need to do is spend 4 hours convincing the guy why he needs to invest in you. And he's not kind of a healthcare, health tech person. So a lot of the nuance is lost on him. So after you've done that, this person will turn around and go to the investment committee presentation, and he will try to convince his firm or his institution's partners to invest. And if you place your health tech startup next to the Grabs and the FinTech Association, FinTech startups, and the Web3 startups of 2017, right? It pales in comparison. So for you to get money, chances are next to nil, right? So that's changing now. And so I think you can kind of tell what the unfair advantage you have.
Okay, can I then flip the switch a little bit? Now, yes, I think I would agree with you. A lot of investors may have trouble getting their head around a health tech startup, but healthcare is a very lucrative business. So there are different aspects of traditional. So let me give you an example. There are lots of, and you may have a business or startup idea that's related to aesthetics or wellness. I think in that side of the equation, or stem cell, you will have a lot of investors.
Absolutely. So let me be very, very clear, right? There's a very distinct difference between venture investing and business investing, all right? So when you invest in a business, it's a brick and mortar. It's profitability. It's I give you, $500,000 in 6 months. You're giving that back to me, all right? We have a very clear path to profitability. There's not there. You're opening a clinic, aesthetic clinic. You're opening something that's already well established, all right? A venture is something that's disruptive. A venture is something that does not yet exist. So what you're coming to me with is an idea or an initial prototype of that idea. And you have somehow found 5 crazy fools to believe in you, and they're paying you money, right? And you're saying that I think there is actually a market for this. And you want a venture investor, a VC investor, to invest in that. Now, why do we come in? Because we think that dream that you have that does not currently exist in the marketplace now will become a reality in 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 years' time. And we want to be the ones that already have the oranges when everyone is still selling apples, right? So on venture, it's not an existing business. It's not an aesthetic clinic. It's not a dental clinic. It's not fill in the blanks, right? It's not an existing business. So that's my view on why. So when I say there's no money in health tech, I meant that in the disruptive venture pathway, that has a lack of finance. Yeah.
Yeah, so, the whole panel session is about investing in healthcare. So just coincidence, the two of us are venture, so we look at things very differently. It's about high risk, high gains. So if you come to us and saying, look, I'm looking for funding for expanding my practice, chances are we won't invest in that because that's kind of flat, right? How much multiple would I make investing in your next brunch? It makes money, sure, but our source of capital, our investors or ourselves, we're willing to lose our money, but to make a bigger multiple. So we're out to look for a bit more riskier bets. But there's different kind of appetites of investors. So we are the crazy investors who write the first check even without evidence, and we're willing to lose our money, and that's our promise.